Welcome everyone to a beginning of the year Google Workspace features update. The year is 2023. We are Cloudasta and we are here to share with you some of the most recent features from the months of November and December and beginning of January that have been rolling out to your domains. And we're hoping that we can walk you through some of those and tell you what might be interesting that you didn't yet hear about. So let's take a dive. So one of the new features that we wanted to show off was how in Google Sheets, you now have the ability to add a timeline view for some of your project management. So in this sheet that I have here, you can see I've just got some simple columns, whatever the task might be, a start date and end date. And that's really all we need to get started. So I can go in and click insert and look for that timeline, and it's got that little new bubble there. And then it's going to say, what is your data range? So it gives you a suggestion, which is pulling everything that's here, or you could type in the data range if you think it's something different. I'm gonna go with the suggested one because I picked it right. Hit that, I'm gonna hit okay. And now we get this cool timeline view of our projects. So by default, it's jumping right into my week's comfortable 100% view. But you can go ahead and tweak all sorts of things to customize this to make it look like what you want. You can go by days. You can go, if you've got a larger project over the course of months, you could go ahead and build it out by months. And then there are other pieces here. We have what's the end date column, which we got on the initial range. What are the titles called? So right now I have it as task. And then a couple of optional fields. Is there a column that's indicating the color or some more details? So let's put some of that in there. So if I were to go to some so for some details, this is really important. And then we can add that in here. So I'm going to extend my range to column D also. And then details. So now you can see I've got in here, I can click on that and I could see some of those details here about those cards. And it's right now it's white, but I can go ahead and shift some of that data and change that. So that timeline view could be really great if you've got some project management or task management happening in Google Sheets already with some start and end dates. You want to go ahead and have a timeline view. Another thing we wanted to show off was for an admin feature. So recently the Google admin console for the Google Takeout settings has been consolidated into a new place where you have more control over which services you enable or allow to be participating in the Google Takeout process. So here on my admin console, I'm going to navigate there for you by clicking on Account on the left side. Previously, you would find this under the Apps menu, but right now it's going to be under Account. And if you scroll down, you'll see there's Google Takeout, a new tab there. And this is saying, okay, who are the users who can access this? I'm going to click this drop down. And now we see I can go ahead and change different things. So I'm going to pick an OU, for instance, and I can see, okay, I have all of these on allowed right now, but if I say, I don't want them to be able to take out Blogger, I can select that and I click don't allow. I can allow it, or I can inherit it if it's coming from some rules from the top. So you could set this up by OU, and you can see there's a lot of different services in here. You could set this up by OU. You could or you can even set it by the root, or you can even set it up by groups, which is really cool that you have the ability to set up specific Google Takeout rules by groups as well as with OUs. So for admins, it's something to definitely check out if you are concerned or want to have a little bit more insight into how Google Takeout is working for your organization. Another thing we wanted to talk about was how Google Meet has now expanded language support for captions and translated captions. This was something that was announced a while ago, but this continues to expand and expand. So now you can translate English calls into Japanese, Mandarin Simplified, and Swedish, and translate French, German, Portuguese, and Spanish calls into English. Additionally, there are standard captions are now available for Japanese, Russian, Italian, Korean, Dutch, Portuguese, Mandarin Traditional, and so on. So some of the languages will be marked with a little beta tag, just showing that it's still kind of being enhanced, and it will take a little bit more time to get up to speed. But the Google Meet captions and translated captions just continues to grow and improve over the last year, and especially going into 2023. So a nice little addition there. The next one is one of my favorite new additions to Google Docs, the ability to now easily format and display code in Docs itself. So if you've someone who's been using Google Docs for sharing code, you'll know that it's just been in plain normal text formatting, but now with the new building blocks feature, there's something cool for you. So you could just type the little @ symbol to start that way, or you can go into Insert, and we're going to go down to Building Blocks, and we got a couple of different things here. So the new one that I want to focus on is this code block. So they have the ability to stat out a code block in C and C++, Java, JavaScript, Python, or you just say unset because we don't have anything in particular. So if I go ahead and select any of these, we get this nice cool box where we can go ahead and start typing in information, in loops, and we can go ahead and you'll see if I do some basic coding here, color, name equals Nick, it's adding in the color formatting for that specific language. And if I go ahead and change that for different languages, it's going to go ahead and change and update that formatting to its best of its knowledge to make it a little bit more like what you're looking for. This is a really great addition. Don't judge me on my code, but I promise you this is something that will be a game changer for many. One that came out with Sheets in earlier December was the ability to create drop downs within a cell in Sheets. So we're going to go back to my Project 42 sheet from a minute ago and add a new column called Status. So now what we can do is we can go Insert, and I can go down to Drop Down, and I have this drop down little field that I can go ahead and add in here. So we're going to call it a drop down. And I'm going to put a couple of different things here for set. Not yet started, in progress. I'm going to add one more item. Done. Hooray. And maybe I'll give those some colors. We'll do a light red. We'll do some light yellow. And then we'll do this green. And we hit this done button. And the great thing now is we have these drop downs that are able to be used as part of our tracker or as anything. Remember, it doesn't need to just be for status. It could be for the name of somebody. It could be for the preference. It could be for any number of things to be able to change that drop down to whatever you want. Makes it those cells a lot more flexible and dynamic. We're going to pop over to Google Chat here for a moment. Google Chat has recently gotten some expanded search capabilities for filtering. Unfortunately, my test account doesn't have that many chat messages going on, but I can still show you those new filters. So if I'm going ahead and searching for something, I'm going to search for a recipe. I can go ahead and put a recipe in. And you can see there's only one recipe coming up here. But if there were multiple, you now have these drop downs to be able to sort a little bit better. So if it mentions me, maybe you're saying it's from someone, you can go ahead and select that it's from you, or it was set in a certain range, or older than a week, and so on and so forth. You now have a lot more filters for making a more powerful search for your Google Chats. Alongside with Google Takeout, there's this new feature for super admins for doing a data export to export some or all data from your organization from the admin console. So from here, you have the ability to start an export. You can name that export, And you can do all data, which keep in mind the size of your organization, maybe a lot, or you can export specific data and either add some groups or do it by organizational unit and add and list organizational units. And then you could start that export. This makes it a little bit simpler for admins to be able to do data exports, as well as users from the Google Takeout system. Heading back over to Google Chat, you now have the easier ability to create group chats without clicking the group conversation button, but by simply just typing in the names of the users that you want to go ahead and be chatting with. So on Google Chat here, we hit the little plus. We could just start typing in some names. So I'm going to meet with Bob, I'm going to meet with Alice, and I'm going to meet with Carol, and I could just hit start chat, and it'll start that chat for me. And I could always add people to that if I want to, but this way I just type in the people who I want to meet with, and it makes it right away. A little bit simpler and more frictionless in the experience. Another one that I'm super excited about, especially for those who are using Google Meet for remote work, is the ability to now have in-meeting reactions for Google Meet. So let me show you what I mean. I'm here in this Google Meet room, and on this bottom bar here, I've got this new little face icon next to my hand raise icon. I'm gonna click this, and I can send a reaction to the room. I can send a little heart. I can send a thumbs up. There's lots of different cool options in here. You can see they kind of float up the screen on the side in different places. And I can even go ahead and change the skin tone to more accurately reflect a skin tone that reflects me.